All right, welcome. Dave here, your sort of smart space guy. And I am joined by the unflappable Tyra Day. We're here for Ty's Take, episode 3 of this new series here on space and our space future. Um, and so, what we're going to do is one thing we're trying to do here at 40 Suns, as you know or may not know by now, Ty has joined us relatively recently, and she ain't from around here, so we are helping to bring her up to speed on what's going on here on Earth because she has a really keen interest in number one the planet itself, our civilization, which is vastly different from hers, which was, pretty much at war everywhere around the entire planet. And more specifically, what we're doing to handle the ability to become extraplanetary, which she feels, and we do too here at 40 Suns, that is very important. That's the fact that we are making progress in that arena is a big deal. That wasn't really going on back where she's from. And so she has questions and we're trying to help her out. So possibly in later episodes, I'm sure we'll get more into her opinion and her feedback on things. But right now, we're just trying to bring her up to speed. So if you want to fire away, Ty, we will. I will try to do my best to answer whatever questions you have.
Yeah, so something I've recently come to learn is that I guess here on Earth, a lot of private companies, the one that I hear the most is SpaceX, Elon
Yes,
Musk.
Musk, right?
A lot of private companies seem to be going into space and getting involved in
Yes.
space. What exactly is that like, and why are they doing that? Why do you think that they're doing that? What's their intention?
Well, as we talked about in one of our other episodes, actually at this point, this is only our third episode, so it was like either one or two, I can't remember. they Money, rightly or wrongly, drives a lot of things that happen on this planet, and there is profit to be made in space.
Hmm.
And a lot of it has to do with satellite technology and ways to help us with our conveniences here on Earth. Everything from streaming things like this video we're doing right now to you name it. In order to get those satellites up into space, it takes rockets. Elon Musk, one of our more prolific earthlings here, who has started several businesses. One of the ideas he had years ago was that we should be more extraplanetary. We should be doing a lot more in that direction. A lot
Huh.
like what 40 Suns is all about. He would
Mm.
actually, if he knew about us, he would probably dig what we're doing, because we are definitely in line with the same kind of goals and so forth. So he realized that in order to do that, we needed to have rockets that could be reused, and we needed to have things that we could do more economically. Again, the profit motive. We needed to be able to send more rockets up and do more. Obviously, the volume and the pace needs to go up. So he kind of began to set a pace that a lot of other companies have now begun to follow. And
Wow.
with his SpaceX company, he's been able to launch very economically satellites and other things up into orbit. It's created a whole, what you might say, renaissance in space on Earth. And so the private companies, it's almost like it's a new paradigm. It's a new way of doing things that we didn't have the last go round, the last time we were actually trying to send people into space. So private companies, I would say, are really what's driving this current space age 2.0.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
think we're currently in a new renaissance in that regard, or not yet?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a new age. In fact, we're calling it Space Age 2.0. We did have, I know you're kind of coming up to speed on your history and so forth too, but back in the late 60s, late 1960s here, early 1970s, we had what you would call our first space age. We were sending people to the moon. We were doing things aimed towards space. There wasn't really the same demand for satellites like there is now, because now, again, we have a lot more networking locally on the planet. that
Okay.
requires the satellites, everything from our global positioning systems to our internet and everything else requires having satellites in orbit. So it wasn't the case back then. There wasn't really a draw for private companies. And gradually it kind of faded. We stopped doing space. And then there was a period where we had what we called the space shuttle, which was our way of, it's kind of was our reusable spacecraft. It was launched on rockets that got thrown away, but then the space shuttle itself would return to Earth and get reused. So we had that going on for a while. It's very orbital, but again, that got shut down. Didn't really. We still
Why did
were.
that get shut down?
There wasn't a need for it. There wasn't a demand for it. It was very expensive to do, even though you could reuse the space shuttle. It was still very expensive to use.
Mm.
So it it really never got traction. I mean, it went on for almost 40 years, but all it was doing was servicing a space station that we have up there. It put a few satellites, a few telescopes into orbit, which we use for scientific purposes and so forth. But there wasn't, again, that profit motivated drive to have it up there. It wasn't making money. It was costing a lot of money.
Mm.
That's why I think we're in a renaissance now, because now we have all these companies that are able to make money putting up into orbit the things that people are demanding, people are willing to pay for, the satellite connectivity and that sort of thing. And what that's doing is that's then driving the need for the rockets, which is in turn bringing the cost down. So the cheaper it is for us to get into orbit, the more we're going to be able to go into orbit, the more we will go into orbit, and it's just a snowball effect on our push into space.
So you guys use it more now than you were originally using it.
Yeah, yes, definitely, definitely. And now,
Okay.
like with the SpaceX and the reusable rockets, it used to be so expensive because, I mean, imagine having an airplane and flying it once and then having to throw it away. You wouldn't have many people flying anywhere, right?
That's
It would
sad.
be very, very expensive. So air travel would be a very, very rare thing. In order for space to become common for everyone, it can't be rare like that. It has to be very easy, and we've got to have these reusable rockets. So Elon Musk and SpaceX really pioneered that whole reusable rocket thing.
Hmm.
And so we do have rockets that can take off, they can land, and you can reuse them again. So we're starting to get into that renaissance where we will have regular space travel available to the average person, just like air travel and so forth is available now. So
Wow.
yeah,
That
yeah,
sounds great.
it's coming. We're
Can
headed
the
that
average
way.
person do anything regarding that now, or is that just the
Well,
rich people?
yeah, well, right now, rich people are the ones that can afford to go do it. But it's important. It's important that they do it because by doing it, they bring the cost down for everyone else. By going out and being the early adopters. But what the rest of us can do, and what the rest of us should be doing, and really what 40 Suns is all about, and what you kind of are all about too. In connecting with us, you're very interested in kind of spreading that awareness. What the average person can do is pay attention, is really like get interested in and get involved in, because there's 8 billion of us on the planet. And, if a majority of us were paying attention to it and we're demanding progress and we're expecting results and even getting involved, because you have to figure if a huge number of us were very interested in what's going on, a larger percentage of us would get involved in what is going on and would actually, contribute to that motion, would go in and take action and maybe become an astronaut or become a scientist or become an engineer or something like that that's actually helping to contribute to our space future. So it's really about spinning that flywheel. And so what the average person can do is just pay attention, is become interested in space, share it with your friends, discuss it with your friends, just make it part of your everyday life in the same way you do other things, same way you pay attention to sports or get interested in your favorite team or whatever, get interested in what's going on in space. That kind of attention will have an amazing effect if everybody is doing it. So that's kind of what we're out to do. We're out to raise that awareness and raise everybody's attention to things.
That makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense. So like,
yeah,
if you give something enough attention and it becomes normal enough, it's no longer expensive. or rare, and now it's just like a common thing that is just part of your
Mhm.
life.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
And that's what we're
nice.
going for. And the
Yeah.
good news is we're actually getting very close to that. People are more and more aware these days because there is a lot more happening. So there are more headlines, there's more news and more things that are kind of like reminding people that we are doing things in the pursuit of space. So it's a good time for 40 Suns and for what we're trying to do because it is becoming more commonplace. And so if we do all pay more attention to it, it's going to make a big difference. Yeah. All right. Well, then why don't we end this episode here and we'll pick it up again in the next one with some more of your questions.
Cool. All right.
Awesome. All right. Very good. Practice my little outro screen here. Excellent. All right. Good. Then we will end this off and see you in the next one.